Okay, this series is not even trying to hide it anymore. It's not even trying to hide its innuendos. I mean, first we have You Wanna Ride Me, Huh? From Zero Two. And then right after that we have I Can Feel Myself Getting Deeper Inside of You. Like, phrasing, like seriously. I mean, Trigger and A1 are obviously not even trying to hide it at this point because of those lines alone, or maybe it's just the translators having some fun. Who knows? But just like, really? Like, really? Like, of all things? Like, okay, I just like, very direct and straightforward, huh? Anyways, let's talk about the glory that is Zero Two in this episode. So, Zero Two, straight adorable. I've already said she's best girl of Winter of Anime 2018, but my god, like, what she did in this episode, multiple times throughout this episode, I couldn't help but just say, protect that smile, protect her, and just, Hiro, you better go after her, because she's just amazing. I mean, number one, the entire sequence when she went into the bath, okay? She jumped and barged into Hiro taking a bath just to confront him and all that. Whoa! Like, she's very direct about what she wants and all that, not even caring. I thought that was a really cool little segment to show some parts of her personality. Then, we also get to see how she's very self-conscious about people around her, and how people view her as a monster. She is kind of self-conscious about that. We see that, because she thought that Hiro was starting to probably not like her or something because of how she's not human. She is very special or different because she has horns. And I like that aspect of Zero Two's character. It does show that she is not 100% like, always, on top of everything. Like, she's not 100% someone that, is always confident within herself or someone that's serious. She does have moments of weakness as well, which makes her a little bit more human than what she already was these past couple episodes, which I do respect that coming from Trigger and A1. But from these little moments, though, we get, apparently it does bug her, because throughout her entire life, people look at her as if she's a monster, and she's probably gotten this a lot. I mean, a lot. Every place she goes to, probably every person that, is her stamen, she always, probably deals with it from them, and so there's never really been a lot of compatibility. And it makes a lot of sense now why you have Hiro being compatible with her, because he doesn't really think too much about the horns. He doesn't think she's creepy, or, she's, like, non-human. He just, mainly he's just scared because he doesn't know if he could be good enough. That's basically what it really comes down to. So it was never an issue of him looking at her looks department and putting her down. So it shows something of why these two are compatible, and also shows that she isn't always going to be the dominant one when it comes to their, conversations. So cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Diving a little bit more into Zero Two's character. So anyways, let's talk about the beginning part of this episode, which opens up with Mitsuru? Yeah, Mitsuru, and how he basically got wrecked from last episode. As we know, he's a snobby guy that obviously, felt like he lacked confidence within himself, and he felt inferior to, Hiro, and he wanted to probably be better than Hiro. That's kind of what his character was showing in last week's episode. Well, we see the start of everything of this episode where, like, he's in bed, he's hurt and all that, and, you can see he's, like, having a mental breakdown. He doesn't want to eat. This man is straight up just, acting like everything's done, like, she's a monster, like, Zero Two is a monster. You ride with her or whatever, you're gonna die. And she was smiling the entire time while they were there driving the FranXX. So that just shows what type of person Zero Two is. She was being very malicious towards Mitsuru, which makes a lot of sense because he was acting a little bit like a jerk, like a scumbag in last episode. So it makes sense why Zero Two was probably taking enjoyment out of probably hurting this man, because he was just being scummy. But even then, though, it shows that Mitsuru, he's like, no, I can't. She's just too crazy. She's a monster. She's gonna kill you if you ride with her. Basically, what he was trying to show is that if you try to ride with Zero Two Hiro, it's not gonna end well for you. It's not probably gonna end well. You probably shouldn't do it in the first place. And so, Hiro gets, like, some warning. It's, like, set up to let us know that if Hiro does continue to want to ride with Zero Two, it's probably going to turn out to where it's going to end badly. He's probably going to get hurt in the process. Now, maybe he is a little bit more compatible, which we know for a fact he is. I mean, he's a protag. But, I mean, even then, he might get injured from it. It might slowly affect his body in some other way we don't really know at this moment. But for now, though, we just know that it is indeed true. If you ride with Zero Two, it will hurt you in the long run. We see some interesting dialogue at the beginning. For instance, the elder guys that are talking, I'm going to assume that they are Papa. That's what I'm assuming now. I mean, we haven't been clarified to whoever is Papa in this series, but because of the way those elders are like having a council meeting, maybe Papa is like a title, just a title for all these figures as one collective unit discussing what needs to be done. Because since they're like the people that are, demanding certain things or wanting certain things done, then it would make sense that they would be the Papa in this situation, unless there's someone even higher than them. But the big point here is that these elders, most likely, they are trying to figure out someone that is compatible with Zero Two. And it looks like they finally might have found the person they want, which is HIRO. Because after this episode, they can no longer deny the fact that HIRO is definitely compatible with her. The question is, why? Why is he compatible with Zero Two? Now, I've seen a couple of people mention in the comments and letting me know that there is a likely possibility that why HIRO is compatible with her is probably because he might not be fully human as well. Someone has mentioned this to me, which it would make sense. I mean, he is the pro tag. He probably is a little bit different than other people, besides just being able to ride with Zero Two. And so him potentially being like maybe a part, Galaxosaur, it does make sense. So that could be true. That could explain why. But even then, though, I do want to point something out that the elders did say about everybody else. He said that all the others are tainted stamen, which is very weird. Well, okay, so tainted stamen, why are they tainted? How are they different? Okay, I'm very curious on why those elders said that and why they shouldn't be with Zero Two. Okay, so moving off that, let's move on to the next part. Let's talk about Ichigo and, her taking the lead and basically telling everybody in her squad, you need to stop focusing on Zero Two, how she looks, how she is a monster, and understand that we cannot rely on her to save us every single time. Which I really respect Ichigo for that. And the reason why is because even though she is jealous, you could see deep down she is very jealous towards, Zero Two and HIRO's relationship right now. She obviously loves HIRO. She knows she can't let those personal feelings control her. And on top of that, she cannot also allow her teammates to continuously focus on something that isn't relatively important at all. Because if HIRO does get with Zero Two, then Zero Two and HIRO are going to go off on their own missions. They're not going to be with the squad anymore. And she's fully aware of this. And so they need to understand that they need to operate as a unit without relying on them at all. And if they continuously focus on that or think that they always have a backup from Zero Two, then they're probably going to get hurt in the long run. Because some of them are probably going to die, which that is a big thing to talk about. I believe the way that was, worded in this episode, that it's obvious there's a death flag going on here. There's a big death flag. I don't know if it's an Ichigo death flag or she could potentially die or if it's something else, but the big point here is that Ichigo was basically implying that someone is probably going to die. I mean, that's what I get from a writing perspective. I mean, this is Trigger and A1, and knowing how these shows usually are, anime original shows, a character death is not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, let's think about some other series that Trigger has done. So, yeah, think about it like that. I do think it's cool, though. I do think that Ichigo kind of manning up and doing what she did, it makes me respect her character a whole lot more. Even though she, obviously still has feelings, she was able to put those aside. And I do also like the little expression that happened towards the end of the episode, too. I want to talk about that for a second. So, soon as Zero Two and HIRO linked up, when they were running over to the Galaxosaur worm thing and all that, you see Zero Two look at Ichigo and smile in the FranXX. And I'm like, yo, did she just do that? She just smiled at Ichigo. And in that moment, if you think about what that means, it's kind of like she was looking at Ichigo and it's like, yeah, I just stole your dude. I just stole your man out from underneath you. You've been with him all along? Don't worry, I just stole him from you. Childhood friends never win. I'm like, yo, Zero Two. She was being savage at the moment. Just that expression alone was pure 100% savagery. So just Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, it makes a lot of sense with Zero Two's character, and it also expands upon more of Ichigo and Zero Two's relationship, because let's think about, when the thing happened in episode 2 and all that, we remember that she also took an interest in Ichigo, and Ichigo also, interacted with Zero Two, like, you need to stay away from him, and so this exchange between them, it's kind of like they have a little bit of a rivalry going on, and I feel like this might fuel Ichigo as a character to develop more, and maybe become a little bit more compatible with HIRO. I'm curious, but for now though, I'll leave it at that. So, anything else to talk about? I'm trying to think here. I've covered the stuff at the beginning with the elders. I've covered with, her being viewed as a monster. I've covered her cuteness. I've covered Ichigo stuff. The fighting scene. Yeah, let's talk about the fighting scene for a second, okay? I think that's the last thing I really need to talk about. So, the fighting segment of this episode, it is very Trigger-like, which that is something I do want to let you all know. This episode was apparently handled by Trigger mostly, and the recent episodes of, Darling in the FranXX, for instance, episode 1 through 3, that was actually, majority of it was handled by A1 Studio. Yeah, go figure. I mean, you would think it would have been Trigger, but in fact, it wasn't. So, it seems like, they're kind of changing off who kind of controls which episode. They're like, shifting over who controls, like, which episode at an individual time. And so with this episode, Trigger kind of takes, the reins and focuses on what happens in this episode. They did it entirely with a little bit of help from A1 as well, obviously. It's not just Trigger, but they took majority of the project for episode 4. And it does show how different of an approach Trigger does certain things compared to A1. In this case, you can see that when it comes to the fighting segments of this episode, it's a lot better than the previous episodes. Easily. Hands down, way better in terms of the fighting segments. However, when it comes to the slice of life scenes, a lot of the certain, still frames to animation parts, it looked very rough. Not bad, but it looked rough compared to previous episodes of Darling in the FranXX, which, when you think about A1, they are pretty used to doing slice of life series and stuff, so it would make sense why they would have a little bit of a better time doing scenes like that. But when it comes to fighting, though, it's obvious Trigger is very superior. So we get to see these two different companies, these studios, and what they're good at and what they're not as good at, and see how they are very different from each other in the way they kind of depict, Darling in the FranXX. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I love you guys. Thank you so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.